Hi, I am Mu'taz and welcome to the first secret or the first rule for excellent English speaking. Now, this whole video course is going to teach you a very different way of learning English. And if you follow every one of these secrets or rules, I promise you your English speaking will improve tremendously a lot. You will make a big improvement, and I also promise that you'll enjoy learning English better, you will enjoy speaking, and you'll feel more confident. All of these things will happen. So let's get started. What is secret number one? Well, secret number one is always study and learn phrases, not individual words. Alright, so what's a phrase? A phrase is simply a group of words. Doesn't need to be a full sentence, although that's fine. But it's a group of words, more than one word. That's a phrase. So this is a very simple rule, simple secret, but extremely powerful. In fact, this is one of the keys to learning and mastering English grammar when you speak. And it's much better than studying grammar textbooks. Okay? So, in your traditional English classes, how did you learn? Well, when you learn vocabulary, you had long vocabulary lists, right? Usually at the back of the chapter, there is a list and you see the word and then maybe a translation of the meaning in your own language. And you just study these lists of words and memorize them, right? Okay. Try to memorize them for tests and then probably you forgot most of them. That's what usually happens. So this is a very painful and boring method, right? I mean nobody likes studying lists of vocabulary words. Good, good news for you. Stop doing it. It doesn't work. You don't need to do it anymore. So, what you do need to do is focus on natural, real English phrases. When you do this, you get free grammar. Let me give you a very simple example. John hates ice cream. Now, of course, to hate means to dislike or to not like something very strongly. So, John hates ice cream. Let's imagine that hate is a new word for you. Now, in the normal traditional way of learning, you would find to hate, that version of verb, in the back of the chapter or in the chapter of your book, and you'd write it down to hate. It means to not like something, and then you would study that version of that verb, right? To hate, to hate, to hate. And then later you would learn all these complicated rules about how to change that verb in different situations, right? I hate, he hates with an S. And then you have to learn the past tense in the future and all this stuff. And you have to remember the basic form of the verb to hate. And then you would have to remember how to change it. That's the old way of doing it, and it's painful and is boring, and it does not work because it causes you to be thinking too much when you should be speaking easily and automatically. When you learn a phrase, you just write down the phrase. So, first of all, you get your phrase from some natural English, not a textbook, and then you write down John hates ice cream. You write down the full phrase always. You never write down just one word. You never just write down the dictionary form of the word. You would not write down to hate only. You would write down John hates ice cream. And you might put a note to remind you where the phrase comes from. For example, it comes from a story that you read, or it comes from something you heard in a movie. Whatever it is, it reminds you of the real situation that it came from. Now, when you just study this phrase, John hates ice cream, you never study just one word. You are studying the phrase. You are automatically getting grammar. You don't need to know about singular, plural, or anything like that. You just will learn naturally by learning phrases like those. He hates. She hates. John hates. Mary hates. It will become naturally. See, this is how native speakers learn grammar. This is how we learn grammar of our mother language as children. We don't study grammar rules and we certainly don't study vocab lists. But what we do is learning from our parents and from other people with just hearing natural phrases all the time. So, for native speakers, they naturally feel deeply that if they say, for example, John, that they are going to put an S always on there. John hates because they have heard phrases like that so many times. They feel the grammar. They don't need to think about it and they feel it because they learned phrases, not individual words, not the grammar rules, not from textbooks. This is so simple, but it's very powerful if you use it correctly, but you must do it all the time. So, never study a single English word again. When you learn something new, write down the full phrase, even the full sentence. It's super important. This is very powerful but very simple. Now, here is the easy way to do it. Go get yourself a small phrase notebook that you carry around with you all the time. Carry it in your jacket or put it in your backpack. And then, anytime you find a new word in English, maybe you get something in your reading, something you are listening to, it does not matter. You're just gonna write it down in your phrase notebook, but you're gonna write the whole phrase. So, if hate was a new word for you, you would not just write down that word hate. You would write down the full phrase. John hates ice cream or John hates. That's up to you. But you're always going to write down at least 3 or 4 words that go with that vocabulary. Very, very important. And then when you learn new words, you just keep adding to the note. Then in the future, when you review your vocab, you always review the full phrases. So you never study individual words. You always review and study full phrases by doing this. This is my opinion to learn new words fast without forgetting them. By this method, you can use the best expression in the best situation. If you have already tried this rule before, tell us your opinion in a comment if it were really efficient or not. And if you have another way, let us know in your comment to discuss it. If you see this material is handy, please subscribe, share, and like it. Thank you for watching.